back to back to back wins for Tyler Reddick and 2311. I am so surprised. I feel like that the way racing is, you just don't see these kind of storylines happening, especially how racing has gone in the past like 10 years. That, yeah, you can maybe get two wins in a row, or just the way how chaos can be created. Now, maybe this is because of the chase, maybe not. Who knows? But Tyler Reddick gets it done. Well, let's kind of go through a few things I kind of liked about the race, and obviously talk about obviously the racing itself, and why I'm pretty sure people are going to hate this race. So, first thing is, again, Tyler Reddick getting three in a row has never been done, and it is just amazing that we can see someone dominate as much as Tyler Reddick right now in 2311. Now, will this carry on for weeks on end? No. I understand a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's great, and just one driver winning all the races. I promise you, his I don't say luck, but his reign of terror and how good he is going to come to an end. It's probably as soon as next week, right? He's decent at Phoenix, but we'll see how well he does, right? But as we get forward into the season, we'll start definitely seeing the drivers like Larson, and Gibbs, and not Gibbs, but Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports and those kind of teams and organizations start rising to the top again and start putting consistency throughout the whole season. Winning is going to mean a lot still, right? He's going to, Reddick has a good points lead going into next week, so it's definitely going to be interesting how much they have, what you're going to have to do for stage racing. Now, next week, obviously, it's going to go back to the normal, like halfway through or stage, or or run, or the stage. You pit, cycle through. Whoever wins the stage wins the stage, right? Typical oval racing stuff. Here this week, it was stage points or no stage points. If you wanted to go for the win, you didn't get stage points. If you just needed stage points and didn't really think you had a chance to win, then you went for the stages, right? So it always changed throughout the whole race. SVG actually stayed out the first stage, collected stage points, and then the second one he flipped it and came in. I thought SVG was going to not say be dominant in this race, but I thought he had more of a legitimate shot to win this versus Reddick or anyone else, and it wasn't to be really. He really said throughout the whole race that his car was just tight. He couldn't get the car to turn, and though yes, he won the O'Reilly Series on Saturday, I think COTA is SVG's kryptonite, right? Because I think, at least for the Cup Series, right, he's just doesn't have whatever it is at that racetrack. He's good. His talent overcomes a lot of issues, but it's not enough to where he can be extraordinarily better than everyone else. Once we go to Watkins Glen, right, even though it has changed, it's in May now, it's up August, I still think he'll do good there. Sonoma, hell, anytime it's a new road course, he'll go in there and just kick butt. So when they go to the naval base, I'm pretty sure he'll be really good there, or probably dominate that whole race. I think that it's just for some reason this track, and for whatever reason it is, he can't put everything together. Either it's just too technical. As you saw through actually when we first had that late run there on Reddick, he was really good through DSs. And, Harvick brought this up and Clint brought it up that because of his background and him always racing in tight circuits and a lot of switchbacks in what he used to race in, that was very easy for him to get used to. It was the long braking zones and the long straightaways that he couldn't make up the difference. Now, which is strange because you go to Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen's mostly straightaways, right? So I don't know how he does it there compared to not doing it here, but he just can't. And Sonoma is nothing but technical. Uh, Now, when we go to the naval base thing, it looks like that's going to be nothing but straightaways as well, for the most part, with 90-degree turns. So maybe he doesn't get that same advantage because everyone has power. And I'm sorry, and I hate to say this, if you're a Chevy person, Toyota has got power because yeah, SVG was hurting. But anytime he did close up on Tyler Reddick, as soon as Reddick got enough grip, that horsepower he took off. So it was definitely a very interesting on how the horsepower matchup between Chevy and Toyota was. I know a lot of people think, oh, they're both the same. Nah, there is differences in horsepower, and even if they had run on taper space or whatever, each manufacturer has their own little tweaks and tunes to the engine to just give that extra oomph of horsepower or torque. And Toyota, you could definitely see that Reddick would yard SVG as soon as he got back on the throttle. So, and especially since that SVG was more tighter than loose, that's kind of like, definitely Chevy needs to work on their horsepower just a little bit in certain cases, especially on launch abilities off turn. So, but anyways, that was, I feel like, for SVG, his one weakness is this track, at least when it comes to the Cup Series. Okay, and we'll see how well he does at Watkins Glen. And once they get to the naval base, they get to Sonoma. Now we don't have no Roval anymore, so we're down to fewer road courses for him to stink up the show. But still, we can't hide the fact that he's going to probably be better at these other road courses. So we'll see how this goes. But Reddick, again, he fought off SVG. He fought off Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, he was running top 5 all race long, and then at the end, he finished his 8th. But he was just, I don't know. I don't know what led him to not have the long run pace at the end, but he just couldn't keep up with it. Some drivers in the back had some fresher tires, so maybe that's what kind of caused him to fall back a little bit, but not like a huge. I feel like the tire wear today, me, was like you had tire wear and you saw the seconds fall off the cars. You can see that they were slowing down. But if you wanted to do a pit strategy to where you wanted the fresher tires than the guy in front of you, it almost had to be almost at least a 15 to 20 lap difference. If it was only 4 to 5, even 6 lap difference, it really didn't make a difference. So you really had to have a huge difference between tire wear on different vehicles. So when it comes to Ryan Blaney, I feel like he probably, that's where he just had his issues, where there were some guys that just had a little bit fresher tires. And also, he just struggled at the end. You could tell the car just wasn't handling right it was in the beginning of the race. So, a few guys to kind of mention here. Michael McDowell, 5th. Great run for him. He actually was staying out late at the run, the last run there. Unfortunately, caution came out for Ross Chastain's tire fell off, and that brought the caution. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people are probably going to be complaining about that caution. Why did they throw the caution there? Even if that tire was sitting out in the beach, it's still a hazard because of some reason. And believe me, in NASCAR, it can happen. As much as you think it can't happen, what you think can't happen in NASCAR will happen. And somebody could have ran into that area, hit that tire, and launched it, right? It's always about if there is safety. Now, you can say that NASCAR threw it because they wanted some excitement. Okay, probably that was the case too. But you got to know that there is safety behind this. So, good caution for that. a little excitement to it at the end there. So besides that, Mike McDowell was going to try to stay out, try to shorten his pit stop, have fresher tires, and have that gap in distance and tire wear. Like he would have had maybe 10, 15 laps fresher than the leaders would. Now, would he have gone all the way to the lead? No, he wouldn't. Probably top 10, maybe close to the top 5. But it wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have had a chance to get the lead. But the caution came out anyways, raced that idea. Thankfully, he came in, a lot of other people came in behind him as well, kind of saved him from not falling back too far, and was able to get back up to 5th. So good for him. Larson up to 6th. His cool suit failed him. It's been recently been seeing that, and I don't know what was going on there. A lot of drivers are just losing their cool suits there. Mike McDowell, right at the end, he just dropped out of his car. He was laying on the ground with his helmet still on, so you could tell how hot he was. And AJ, he finished 9th, so good effort for him, but I hope he's okay. I'm assuming he's just obviously dehydrated and heat exhaustion and stuff, so hopefully he'll just get a lot of fluids built into him and get his core down. But yeah, it was about, I think, 81 degrees today at Austin, Texas. So probably the warmest they've ever been. I mean, the last 2 races have been either in the 20s or 40s. So going from that big of a difference, almost a 40 degrees swing in temperatures, is just really bad for a driver because you get so cold, used to this cold air, and then all of a sudden jump into warm air. Hard on the body. So Mulvey's okay. Danny Hamlin, he finished 8th. Bubba Wallace 11th. Kyle Busch, at one point in time, he was in the top 10. He was in a hornet's nest there at the end of that race. 20 to go, around there. And somehow he escaped through and survived that. Another person I got to talk about, Connor Zilic. I mean, this kid was doing, he didn't have a great qualifying. He I think started like around 20th or so in qualifying, but he started to make his way up slowly but surely. He finally got up to the top 10, and then I think it was stage 2, he gets taken out, and then on that late race caution gets taken out again. And I just like this kid has been doing really good, trying to show that, hey, I got this road course ethics like SVG does, and he just gets ran over. I mean, none of these wrecks were his fault. It's just unfortunate, but hopefully he still came back to finish 14th. So, and right at the end there, like before they had the pit stops, he was like one of the, I think the fastest or one of the fastest drivers there before they went to the final pit stops, and then got up to like 5th for all that, but wasn't meant to be, and finished 14th. Joey Logano 15th. Brad Keselowski, they didn't know if he was going to stay in the car. They thought he was going to have to get out, and Joey Hayden was going to have to substitute, but he said, I'm committed. I'm going to stay through the whole race. And he did. Finished 20th. Not the greatest, but still decent for what he's going through right now. Next week he'll be going to Phoenix, so it shouldn't be too terrible. But obviously every week his leg's gonna heal better and more and more and more. And then by the time 7, 8, maybe 9 races in, he'll start feeling way better. I still have a limp probably for most of the season, but he should be okay for the rest of the season after get through some of these. Mostly the main issues are going to be road courses, but I think by the time they get to Watkins Glen, he should be fine. Besides that, everyone else, one more person to talk about is Alex Bowman. He right at the end of the race, he got out, wasn't feeling well. And I think I want to make sure I don't butcher his name, but it's I think it's Maddie Snyder. It's Marty Snyder's son. Got in to fill in, and I guess he was there helping out Jamie Little doing like a spotting reports. I guess I don't know what that exactly means, but obviously eligible driver because she's been doing O'Reilly Series races and stuff. So he wasn't expecting at all to drive, period, and ends up doing a the last handful of laps there, finish the race out. But yeah, it shows Alex Bowman 36, but Alex I think was in about the top 20, and after that, unfortunately, just got sick there. Chase Briscoe, who was running up in the top 5, top 10, something broke one of the rear end axles or trans axles or whatever they have, whatever they say they are. I'm not sure what the rear end, anyways. Something broke in it, and he only had one wheel drive in the either the left side or right side, whatever it is. So he went to the garage and finished last in the race, but he was having a good race too. Unfortunate for him. So we'll see how well he can do next week at Phoenix. All right, let's talk about the race a little bit here. I know a lot of people are going to hate this race. It wasn't exciting. There are huge gaps. And Fox kind of got back into their old swing of things about being dull about stuff. And of course, I hate to say it, but what are you going to talk about when there's nothing to talk about? And I understand that besides the close battle between Reddick and Blaney for most of the race, it was lackluster, right? You didn't have a lot of caution, or you didn't have any caution, really, just besides the one incident caution there with Chastain. Besides that, you had the restart chaos for turn 1, and after that, was not much to happen. Look, we can chalk it up to saying that everyone wants to blame a road course, but we still understand these cars still suck. They just, regardless of the horsepower, I think a lot of people just assumed that adding an extra 80 horsepower was just going to solve everything, and it's just not. These cars are just too good to drive at road courses, even with tire wear and extra horsepower. There are other things that have to be done. The aero platform is terrible. The grip level is, even for these tires, are way up. It's hard. And and these drivers are so good. They just don't make errors like they used to. I mean, they used to, back in the early 2000s, bring in road course ringers because a lot of the drivers that didn't just just did regular oval races, right, couldn't do road courses, or they just weren't that good at road courses. And because of that, you always wanted to get the best points out of a road course. Now, every driver, they're good at it. They're great at it, really. I mean, even SVG is even greater, but everyone else is just as good. So you are not making the same mistakes, a lot of errors, plus a car that's just too good for road courses leads to a race like this. I don't know what the cure is, besides getting rid of the whole car itself, and that's not happening anytime soon. We all know that. That's something we can complain to we're blue in the face. That's just not happening. The teams, NASCAR, they've put too much money into this car just to scrap it right now. Now, that doesn't mean they're not working on the next new car out there, new package and whatever, but it's just not going to happen right now. It's usually every 10 years we get a brand new car. So, car debuted in 22, we're probably looking at 2032, 2033 before we'll see probably a new car. I know, that sucks. But I don't see them going ahead and changing this whole car just because of the road courses and short tracks. They'll do what they can, and hopefully maybe next week at Phoenix, we'll have a tire that hopefully doesn't did what it did for the championship race, but have something like it. Then maybe we'll have a better race there. We'll see. But as for the race, it was decent. It wasn't like the most spectacular thing, and that's what kind of sucks about going from Daytona, right, Daytona 500, and then going to a really good race at Atlanta into a road course, right? You want that momentum to keep going. If anything, you kind of almost want to go Daytona, Atlanta, and then some kind of mile and a half. Maybe not necessarily Las Vegas, but if you could go to another mile and a half that puts on really good racing, you want, that's the momentum you want, right? So it sucks, but it is what it is, and we just kind of deal with it until something really changes, or NASCAR maybe themselves gets fed up. And I know you're gonna probably say that's not gonna happen anytime soon. I get that, but I just don't see the teams want to say, yeah, you know what, let's sink in more money into a brand new car just so we can save the short tracks and road courses. I don't see that happening. We'll see how it goes next week when they go to Phoenix. And after that, it's Las Vegas. So we'll get to the West Coast swing there, or the mini West Coast swing for Phoenix and Las Vegas. And we'll see what Tyler Reddick does next week. Can he go 4 in a row? I doubt that. I really doubt it. But who knows? This NASCAR has been very weird in recent, past probably 6 months. So anything is possible. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the race. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more NASCAR content. Hope to see you for the next one.